is 6 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start off by saying that this meeting is being held pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. The various boards and committees representing the town of Grafton will conduct their public meetings and hearings via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted. So we have a good agenda here. There's a lot of information to cover. Right now, what I'd like to cover tonight, what we put on the agenda is to review the status and the schedule for the screening process, review the public comments that were submitted, and then look at the town administrator profile creation, and then discuss the next steps. And we'll have Bernie walk us through that. But right now, I think I'm going to jump ahead to the second item on the agenda, and that's the public comments. Liz did a great job putting together a, what do we call it, Google form, which I learned a lot about, which is awesome. I think we had, what, over 90 responses? That's awesome. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to Liz and have her walk us through what the results of that are. So Liz, if you can't share your screen, let me know and I'll make you a co-host if you can't, but I think you should be able to.
Okay, do you want to start with, for the public's knowledge, start with sharing where we provide.
Yeah, please do. Just walk us through the entire process as how you went about doing this.
So this was by me. This was shared on a few sites on social media, but I know it was shared elsewhere. I just don't know by others. I just don't know what the extent of that was.
Well, the one thing that I did is I talked to the town administrator's office and they did post it on the town's homepage.
Okay.
So it was there as well. And there was, of course, a big ad in the Grafton News as well as on Grafton Common. So I know it hit those locations. I saw it there. And then I know you put it out on All Things and some other places. So I think it hit a lot of different places, okay, which was good.
All right. So let me get this as a slideshow. 1 second. Okay. So forgive me for the crudeness of this presentation. I made it about 15 minutes ago. Had a busy work week. So here are the TA Screening Committee's town survey results. As Mark said, we created a Google form, and we also provided our contact email address and address for people to give us input. And that way, I don't think we received any, to my knowledge, we didn't receive any. Otherwise, I would have gotten that and input that in here, so that would have been included. So here's a brief summary. This is where the results came from. We did have 93 responses, as I mentioned, the majority coming from 01519, but we did get responses from all over town. So, apologies for this. This says financial management up at the top. That's just, I couldn't get a better picture of that, but you can see pretty clearly there are several items that people thought were the professional qualifications that they thought were most essential. People could select up to 4 of these, and the qualifications at the top were financial management experience, which 80% about 80% of the people said that was important. Experience as a town manager or city manager was also important, with experience with project management, one of the top items, and then experience with organizational change and a demonstrated success in working collaboratively. The other issues seem to be less important to people, so these were the top qualifications. One thing I wanted to add before I get too deep into this is that I can share the entirety of these results with everybody, and I suppose there wouldn't be an issue with including those as attached.
No, we can include them with the minutes so that the public can see them. So we're discussing this in public, therefore it's a public document. Anybody can have access to it.
The only thing that we will is people's personal identifying information. So we'll take out their names, their email addresses from that document.
Agreed.
The public legal reasons.
Yep.
Okay, so just stop me. I can't see everyone's hands the way I have when you're presenting. It's difficult. So
I have it open, so if somebody raises their hand, Liz, I'll let you know.
yeah, okay, I don't see any hands yet. Okay, so the next question, we had 5 questions in this survey. The challenges and opportunities are critical for the new TA to address. And as you can see, once again, there were several that stood out. The overwhelming, most critical challenges and opportunities that people identified here. Maintaining financial stability. This came up over and over again in the comments as well, which I'll get to in a minute. But people seemed very concerned about the financial stability of town and wanted to make sure that they was prepared. Sorry, it's cut off again. I didn't have a way of fixing that for this. Maintaining and strengthening the community feel. People thought that was very important. Town infrastructure and ability to work, and sorry, I can't do anything about that dog in the background. Ability to work within and stay within, I'm thinking that said budget, within our town budget. So again, another financial issue that people thought was very important. So these were comments that people could make. There are about 60 some comments for each of the next 2 questions, this one and the following question. I just randomly took a few and put them in here, but obviously I can share all of those. I didn't figure everyone wanted me to go through all 60 some of those tonight. But here are a couple of the comments that people made. And commenting on what they thought was the most important thing. This gave them an opportunity to go beyond the just multiple choice questions that they had to really express what they thought.
There were a lot of thoughtful comments in there.
Mm-hmm.
People really took time to express their concerns. I thought that was great.
Yeah. So again, I'll share all of those with everyone so you can read all of them. But a lot, I would say there were a lot of comments. Obviously Grafton is going through some changes right now, but a lot of comments addressing that change and what they wanted to see in it or how they felt about it. Any concerns they had about the things like that. So just my summary of the essence of a lot of the comments. See what they all are. And then this question, not many people actually really answered. Information do you believe we should know in our search? And people use this as just another opportunity to give their input into the qualities they are looking for in a TA. So there were a couple of answers that I found really quickly that people wanted us to look at. What are the person's priorities for I just copied these exactly as they were. So if there's any grammatical errors, please don't blame me. Priorities for and policy in my house that when I'm starting a meeting, I tell everyone, all the kids who are in the house, that I'm in a meeting and I'm presenting, and that they are in charge of keeping the dog quiet. So
that's okay.
You need to tell the dog.
So I'll try. They wanted us to look at his, or I would add her reputation from other towns, or his public records. And then people provided a couple more qualities that they'd like to see in a TA. So again, we had 60 some responses to this, which I will share with everyone. But this provides a small sample, and I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
I don't have a question, but just a statement that after going through all of this, and I'm sure when the rest of the committee takes a look at this, they'll see that the 2 main issues that you'll see repeated in the comments and in the the search results in terms of the ranking is financial stability in the town and fiscal, a good fiscal background and somebody who's a collaborator. And I think that seemed to be the overwhelming theme over and over again that I saw from those remarks. We shared those, Bernie. You got the results of these comments too. Okay.
I did, and if I could say this, it was great working with Liz on this. And this might be, I think it is, of all of the communities that we've done searches and the processes that we've used, whether it be a forum, emails that are sent to us. In another time we did a survey. This is the best response I think that by far that we've seen, and just some great information. And we got these in enough time that we could work to incorporate, I think, pretty much all of the main themes in the position profile that we are ahead of schedule actually in getting that out. I know you have that to talk about tonight.
Yep.
Even if some of the items in here don't show up in the profiles as specifically as you could potentially do, there's great feedback here, great information that we should use for the development of the interview questions, so that we gear our selection process or our screening process to make sure that we hit upon some of these topics that people have raised.
So, does anybody else have any questions of Liz? I want to thank Liz for putting this together and working with Bernie. I think this is excellent. I was going to ask you, Bernie, if this was the most public input you've seen in a while, and thank you for answering that, because I've never seen this much public input to a search process. So this is fantastic. Are there any questions from the committee on that? All right, so Liz, you'll share it with the rest of the committee. What I'd like to do now, Bernie, if it's okay, I'll share it. Liz, if you can stop sharing the screen.
Sure.
And then I'll share my screen. And Bernie was able to send me this afternoon the position statement that they've developed. So let me get that up on the screen for you to see.
I'd like to reiterate though, if I can share, well, I guess just in sharing the document, I'll share it without the personal information, just so it doesn't accidentally get out there. So, okay.
I appreciate that. So Bernie, you want to walk us through this?
Yeah. Am I controlling this or are you controlling this?
Well, I'm sort of controlling. I should probably stop sharing and let you share it so that you can control. Wouldn't that make more sense?
It might, except that I don't have it right on my screen. So give me 1 second, if you will, to do that. Let's see. Bear with me for 1 second. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can do this. Am I, here we go. Okay. This is the statement that we have. There's a lot here that I don't expect people to necessarily read as we go along. But essentially, this is our standard position statement or type position statement that we generate to give a little bit of information about the town and what the town is looking for. We provide a little bit of information about the salary right up front so that they can see that. We give information about the form of government and the financial condition of the town. We rely very much upon, our first efforts at doing these through the years have gave people quite a bit of information. But what we're really focusing on now is giving them hyperlinks that they can go in and find out, they can go to the Town of Grafton website, pull up the charter, pull up the bylaws, annual reports, etc. So we give them the opportunity there to really dig in and get the information they need about the town. What we focus upon here, based upon the information that we received from department heads, members of the board, is the key issues of economic and community development, open space and recreation, and then the current priorities of projects. So you notice that there's a discussion here of the fire department study, a library expansion that's under construction, the redevelopment of the state hospital, the Main Street project, the Worcester Street zoning and strategic plan, and so on. And then again, based upon the feedback that we received from the board, the department heads, and the community input that we just looked at, we've put in here bullet points in terms of the ideal candidate, and we've included all of that. So this is the document that we will be distributing to potential candidates, people that we know might be good candidates for the town of Grafton, that we're aware of, people that just we can blanket this across the spectrum, and it resides on our website, as well as we'll make it available for the town to put up on its website. People check our website. We get about 6,000 hits a month that people looking for positions here in Massachusetts. So obviously they'll see this. In fact, we've already heard from people that are interested in learning more about the position, and this will help them understand a little bit more about Grafton. So, our hope is, and when we get into the timetable here, our hope is that we can get this off to the board and get their, a stamp of approval to, and then we can start distributing this and starting our real recruiting next week. So,
Brittany, is it okay if I share what you sent me with the rest of the committee?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we sent it out to you in PDF, so you get a look of what it looks like in that way. But also, it's in a Word document so that you can, edit it up a little bit if you want.
I'll forward it to the committee after this meeting, if that's okay.
Great. Yep.
So Bernie, if I could ask a question. So the next step now is for you to take that position statement, send it to the select board. The select board signs off on it. Right. And then it gets advertised. So you're still on track to advertise it in November, at the end of October, beginning of November. That's still the time frame?
If I can share it on the screen?
Sure.
This is, everyone can see this?
Yep.
This is the timetable that we provided to the board, including the misspelling of the word March that I just noticed. This is how you can verify that it is the one I gave to the board. And you can see that our plan was to, under line 16 here, position profile recruitment brochure preparation through the week of the 19th, with a reviewing the profile with the select board that week, which is next week. And then we begin this, our recruiting and advertising next week, and have it run until the, roughly we'll say the middle of November. And then we'll get back to the search committee the week of the 16th. I don't recall if we set up a date on that, but that would be our goal, is to meet during that week or thereabouts. But you can see that it just proceeds along with the actual work of the screening committee being completed by the middle of December. And then a little bit of a gap here for the holidays, and the select board doing their interviews the last week of December, the first week of January. So,
Stephen, you had a question?
Yeah, if we did have comments on the document, how should we present those and in what time frame?
I would hope that if you could present them to us, today is Wednesday, maybe by the weekend, by Saturday or thereabouts,
Okay.
and then we can get it off to the board.
And how would we do that?
You don't have, I don't think you have our email addresses, but
Bernie, I'm going to forward your email.
okay.
So your email address will be in what I forward to you, Stephen. So you can just send it directly to Bernie.
Great, thank you.
And I will forward it along to Sharon. So actually I think Sharon's email is in there as well, Mark. So you could just forward it right on to Sharon. She'll be the one doing she's the one who prepared this and she'll be the one doing the editing.
So this leads to a good question. So on the week of the 16th, that's when we should sit down and we will review the resumes. Is there a day that week that works well for everybody? Does Wednesdays work? Because the Wednesday that week is the 18th. Does that work for the committee? If we schedule the meeting for 6 o'clock on the 18th?
Wednesdays start getting challenging for me, at least, in November and December, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Well, how about Tuesday the 17th then? Because obviously we want to have a full committee here.
My one concern with that, Mark, is if we run into a snag at all with the board next week. Again, we're a little bit ahead of schedule here with our getting this done to get to you now, but if we run into a snag there, we may have to push that back into the following.
I won't post the meeting until you tell me that it's good to go. I got 48 hours to post, so I won't post the meeting until the committee says, until you tell us the 17th works.
Yep. Maybe if people could block off the 17th, I hate to do this to people, but if they could block off the 17th or the 24th, and we'll do one of those.
Okay.
I have a school committee meeting on the 24th, but if we can wrap it up in an hour, then I can fit both in.
We'll probably need, typically that meeting will require about 2 hours.
Because we're going to go through all the resumes.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody.
Bernie, is there a drop dead date for submission of resumes from candidates?
Well, we usually do a drop. We usually do a drop dead date. We can leave it open until filled. That gets, that's frustrating because people just keep on coming, and it never seems to end, particularly if we're up against it here with time. But we have done that in the past.
I think a drop dead date makes the most sense. So
Yeah.
I hope the select board okays that.
Yeah, I'm not condoning it. I'm just interested if that's traditionally part of the process.
I'll tell you, today is the deadline for the applications in Kingston, and I actually state 5 p.m. and at 4:55, I had about 6 resumes come flying in. If there's not a deadline, people aren't. And
Yeah.
Is the select board, because I see in the profile statement, you don't have a salary in there. Has the select board set a salary yet? And Ed, is the board going to set a salary?
That's what we need to talk to the board about.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that the next time we meet with these guys.
Yeah. Ed, do you have a meeting next week?
We've got a meeting every week from now until I think the new year. So you just pick a Tuesday.
Okay.
And
Well,
you can.
all right.
Yeah.
Then I will say that we will probably try to be there this Tuesday coming up.
So we've got Monday is a town meeting. Tuesday is technically a workshop. It's our goals meeting, but if there's something that we want to do for that meeting, I'll put you in contact with Pete Carlson. Otherwise, we're meeting again on the 27th.
Okay.
So do you have a meeting on November 17th as well, Ed?
Probably, but we're getting to the point where, this is going to take priority. So I don't mind missing a little bit of the regular business meeting if I got to be here.
So if we could, I'll speak to Peter and we'll work to get on the agenda for the 20th, which is, again, if we could have the screening committee members look at the profile and get it to us, let's say by Saturday, then I can turn it around and get it to the board so that they'll have it in hand so that we can talk about it on, we'll get that out on Sunday so the board can talk about it on Tuesday.
All right, so as soon as this meeting's over, I will forward the position statement to all members of the committee. I'll just forward you a document which has both the Word and the PDF.
Yep.
Send that out. So if everybody can walk in the 17th and the 24th, depending on the depending on how Bernie makes out with the select board and gets it advertised. Once Bernie firms that up, I'll reach out to everybody and we'll set the 17th as the date, or the 24th, depending on what happens. Bernie, will you have the opportunity to get the resumes to the committee a few days before, so we'll have an opportunity to look at them?
Yes, yes. As soon as I get them, basically what I'll be doing is dividing them up into tiers of candidates. Tier 1 being the ones that meet the qualifications. Tier 2, maybe not quite, and Tier 3 are those that really aren't qualified. That makes it easier for the committee then when we meet to just, if they've looked at Tier 3, we can wipe them out or hold on to some. Similarly to Tier 2, and we can focus our energy on the Tier 1 candidates. But we will get those out ahead of time via email.
Liz, you had a question?
Well, it's just something to say. So the only conflict on the 18th, which was the date that rose, is, I think, in my opinion, less important than the select board. So I can 18th, so that to make sure that Ed doesn't have that conflict on the 17th.
All right, so does the 18th, Wednesday's fine with me. Is Wednesday the 18th okay with everybody? We'll lock the 18th and the 24th, because I don't think you want to meet on the 25th.
Yeah, the 25th.
I would guess, just saying. So why don't we lock in the 18th and the 24th? Just keep those dates open, and once Bernie gets me the final okay, I will send out an email and I'll post the meeting and take care of all of that. One thing, so the committee understands completely, everything from now on, and so that the public understands, everything from now on with this committee is going to be done in executive session. So the meeting on the 18th, if we have it, or the 24th, that meeting will be done in executive session. The resumes are confidential until finalists are announced by this committee. So we will not be discussing anything in public until we announce the finalists that are going before the select board. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that. Everything we do is in executive session moving forward at that date. Bernie, are you going to have sample questions to us, or do you want us to come up with some questions? How do you recommend we go about developing those questions?
We'll have some sample questions for you at our meeting on the 18th. And then if people want to give some thoughts to that, and again, they can communicate those directly to us, and we can include those in the packet.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and then with regards to the 18th, again, just on scheduling, I'm not sure what people's schedules are, but maybe for Liz, if people could meet at 5 o'clock, we might be able to get out in time for the 7. I'm not sure what time the school committee meets actually. So
We meet at 7.
yeah. So just a thought.
Does 5 o'clock work for the committee, or is that too early?
It's kind of early.
Is it too early? All right, well,
Yeah.
then we'll go with 6 then. 6 seems to be okay with everybody?
The 25th available though?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
The 25th available to people though, or did we just think?
I think we said because it's Thanksgiving, the day
It's
before
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, we said no. 24th was pushing it, but we can do the 24th. So we'll block the 18th and the 24th, and depending on how Bernie makes out with the select board and getting the position advertised and resumes coming in, we'll get back to the committee and let you know exactly what date that's going to be. But please keep the 18th and the 24th at 6 o'clock open for us. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that works.
Yes.
Works for me.
Perfect.
I unfortunately can't do the 24th. I could definitely do the 18th, but I can't make the 24th work. Can I review through email and provide my feedback that way?
Yes.
You can provide it. What I would ask you to do, Jim, so that we don't violate the open meeting law, is if we go on the 24th and you can't make the 24th, send your comments directly to Bernie and don't copy anybody else on the committee. And then Bernie can
Okay.
present that to us that night. I just don't want to violate the open meeting law.
Right.
Very good. Yep, that works.
I hope we can meet on the 18th, so you're there when we get together
Yes.
on that date. So Bernie,
Yep.
make it the 18th.
Ed, make it the 18th.
Okay, so I think that covered everything we were supposed to talk about tonight. Are there any questions? Bernie, thank you for having that position statement ready to go. I think that's great that we got a chance to see that.
Great.
And Liz, great job on the community input. That was fantastic. Such good information
Mhm.
that came in. And of course, you'll enjoy reading the comments because there's one person that has a problem with our police department that you will see as you go through the comments. But otherwise, I think a lot of the comments that came in were very constructive and helpful in helping us search for the next town administrator. So Liz, thank you so much for getting that done.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
for us. Yes, please, go ahead.
it's Chris. Just on those, the community information, the responses, can we get the full information, who the respondents were, please?
My concern with that is once it goes out, it's a public record and the public can get that information. And I guess I want to know from town council whether or not the releasing of the email addresses and the names are a public record. I guess the names would be, but the email addresses would not be.
Yeah, I
So
don't
if you
think,
could, so if you can block off, Liz, the email addresses and just have the names, because I know there were two separate pages there. One has the names, one has the email addresses. If
Mhm.
you can include the names, that would be good. Does that satisfy you, Chris?
yes.
I think I'd prefer to see them without names attached. I'd rather take the comments for what they're worth rather than being influenced by knowing who made the comment.
Okay, she can block yours off.
Is that possible? Is if you can, when you send it out to, so Dave doesn't want to see the names or whatever,
Yeah.
Chris wants to see it. If you can, I know that's a little extra work for you, but if you can do that, I'd appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Steve, did I see your hand up? No, okay. Anything else from anybody? I love efficient meetings.
No.
This is great. This is great. All right, so being no other business before the committee, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thanks to both Bernie and Liz for their work getting us ready for tonight. Is there a second?
Oh, thanks, Sharon.
Second.
Thanks, Sharon. Don't change.
Oh, thanks, Sharon.
Yes.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
All right, by roll call, Dave,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Mark, aye. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Great meeting.